Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of PTC Live. I'm your host, Russell Martin. We've got a great show lined up for you today, but before we get started, be sure to share, like, and subscribe so that others can connect with this content. Also, if you have comments or a question for us, feel free to drop that in the comments below, and we'll get to that toward the end of the show. So today we've got Alvie Coes, Dean of the Industrial and Engineering Division with us. How are you doing today, Alvie?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good,
It's
good.
good to have you here.
Yes, sir. Glad to be
We've been
here.
wanting to have you on for a while. It's glad to finally get you here.
Yes, sir.
So I guess just to get started, the big thing I want to know first is just a little bit about you, because
Okay.
our community hasn't had a chance to meet you yet. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got here, your education background, that kind of thing.
Sure. Again, glad to be here. So I have a higher education and human resources background. Did undergrad and graduate studies at Georgia Southern University in Statesboro, Georgia. Then after that, actually, had the wonderful opportunity to go to Ogeechee Technical College and graduated with an associate's degree in funeral service education. I mean, like I tell people, I value tremendously my experience at Georgia Southern, but it was my education at Ogeechee Tech that really prepared me for the workforce, gave me a lot of hands-on skills that I needed at the time when I found myself unemployed to get back in the workforce. So I am a product of technical education, a huge fan of what we do, and it really allows me to come in and want to work hard every day to make sure our students have a great experience. So I'm a huge believer in what we do in technical education. But yeah, so again, went to Georgia Southern. Prior to coming here, I actually had a chance to work as the Dean of Technology, Engineering, and Manufacturing at Athens Technical College in Athens, Georgia. And then this opportunity led me to come here. So that job was kind of very similar to the one I have now. A few programs were a little different, but for the most part, same type of role, same job duties. And lastly, I'll just say I also have the wonderful opportunity to serve in the United States Air Force as a captain with the 94th Aeromedical Evacuation Squadron. We are stationed at Dobbins Air Reserve Base in Marietta, Georgia. And that experience, basically, we work to bring wounded warriors home. So that experience has definitely been life-changing and really given me a great skill set as well. And I'm proud to serve my country in that capacity. So
How long have you been in the service?
I have served now to be 5 years in September.
Okay, that's great. So how did you, when you started at Piedmont Tech, it was actually during our remote period, right?
It
During
was.
the pandemic, the heart
Very
of the
much
pandemic.
so. Yes, sir. Started in November 2020. It was a lot changing dealing with COVID. I think at that point, too, Dr. Brooks had announced he was retiring, so I didn't really know what I was walking into. But it's been a great experience. Piedmont Tech is definitely, the people here have been amazing. Everybody kind of went out of their way to make sure, that initial month, first few weeks was a great experience because I think people understood, what was going on with COVID and just a lot happening. So although I came in thinking it would be challenging, the people here made it very welcoming. So has been a great experience so far.
That's great. And we've been very glad to have you.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Well, I guess let's talk a little bit about your division next. So the first thing that I'm thinking about is all the business and industry partners that we have as a college. And I'm curious to know how your program directors, how our students interact with those business and industry partners and how that relationship kind of goes back and forth.
It does. That relationship is very important. It's very fluid. We depend on our businesses and industry to, not only hire our students and give them, great jobs, but also to work with us in terms of what we're doing here at the college, our programs, making sure we're meeting the needs, of the students as well as the local industries. A lot of times those businesses have the opportunity to serve on what we call our program advisory committees. And again, those folks provide some very unique experiences regarding, what we're doing in our programs, making sure that our curriculum connects with the industry, making sure that our equipment also coincides with what those students will be seeing in the workforce. So we depend on our business and industry a lot to make sure that students are prepared for a global economy. So we lean on them heavily. And then also now we're kind of we find ourselves in a situation where there's a labor shortage, especially in a lot of the high-skilled positions. So we're trying to work very closely with our business and industry partners to get them to be more involved and engaged on the front end of that cycle. Because now, everybody is running to us for graduates and for employees, but, there's only a small pot we have to choose from. But if we can get them more engaged on the front end, that would help us kind of create a pipeline to have students working through the system. That way, once they get their foot in the door here and then they graduate, they're able to get that good paying job and have that great career. So it's a very fluid and flexible experience. We depend on business and industry as much as they depend on us. So.
Okay. I'm sure we have kind of a unique vantage point for that too. Can you tell me a little bit about the current job market and what you're hearing from our industry partners?
Sure. They're struggling to find, especially out of our high skill type areas, just to find folks who have that skill set and can come in ready to go to work. But again, while it's a struggle, it has kind of, I think, opened our eyes and given us the opportunity to be more innovative when it comes to how we recruit, how we get students enrolled here at the college. And also, I think it strengthens our relationship with those businesses in those industries that hire our students. Again, it's really given us the opportunity to say, hey, look, we know you need high-skilled and high-quality employees. Work with us as we go out into the high schools and other areas of the community to recruit these students. Because, it's one thing to hear from me about how great a job is, how much money you can make, what the benefits are like. But when students are able to hear that from the employers themselves, it makes a world of difference. So again, for us, and it really is a win-win relationship. So for us, we want to work as closely as we can with businesses and industries so that they help drive some of that recruitment. And like I said earlier, by doing so, it helps them. It helps us all create a pipeline of what we hope to be highly skilled, highly trained individuals who are learning and ready to go to work.
Right, and you're touching on this already, and you've kind of said it, but I mean, what makes the training that we're providing lead to those in-demand jobs specifically?
It's hands-on. But not only that, it's hands-on, and it mirrors exactly what they'll be doing once they hit the door. And it also it gives employers have the chance too. They may have folks who are already working in their companies who they want to send back to get some kind of credential. So it really works both ways. And in that regard, when those employees who are already working come back in, they're able to provide sometimes our instructors with, some knowledge and some experiences of what they're seeing actually in the workforce day to day. So again, it really goes hand in hand. And again, that I really can't overstate that relationship enough of how important it is to work closely with our industry partners and to, not really see it as a competition, but more so how do we serve each other in order to meet the needs of the workforce.
Right. And we have, in the labs and that we're providing students, we're providing the same technology that they're using when they go out in the workforce.
That's true. We are.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the technology or some of the interesting technology that we have?
It really is state-of-the-art stuff. A lot of it now, I know mechatronics has been a hot field as of late. That whole industrial maintenance type program and skill set deals a lot with pneumatics and fluid power and gears and axes, stuff that I don't know a lot about when it comes to the details, but very exciting stuff and really just it really shows you how from a production side, when a piece of equipment is down, how much money it costs that company for that equipment to be down for an extended period of time. So having someone with that skill set who can come in and has a mechanical mind to really troubleshoot that equipment and kind of figure out what the problems are and make sure they don't happen again is really it's a unique skill set that employers are really coming to us and wanting us to be more involved with. So technology like that is huge in the workplace. And also I think about, automotive, that's another big one. Yeah. We used to think of it as, kind of grease mechanics that spend a lot of time getting dirty and greasy. But while there's still some of that in the automotive industry, most of our cars now are run by computers. So you have to know how to today's mechanic, how to hook that car up to that computer and troubleshoot and read those codes and diagnose that way. So just industries across the board are changing and incorporating more technology. As we become, smarter and more innovative as a society, then the skill set in all of our programs starts to change and becomes more heavy on technology and how we integrate that in the curriculum and stuff.
And you mentioned automotive. I've used their virtual reality simulator before, and I know some of the other programs are using virtual reality as well. Is there any
Yeah,
Anything to say
welding
about that?
is cool. They do a lot of virtual reality, and the neat thing about it is, especially on the welding side, they're able to use that virtual reality, and it's almost like playing a video game. And that's something a lot of the newer students can relate to. They're learning to weld, but they also see it in that video game format. And then for us as a college, it allows them to practice without us burning and consuming a lot of materials,
Right.
especially in welding, because pipe and some other things can be quite expensive. So by having them come in and practice on that, they're able to learn some skill, but then also help us, save resources on the back end as well.
Right. So, yeah, we've talked about the types of technology we're using to prepare students for those in-demand jobs, but it's not just that the jobs we're preparing people for are in demand, they also pay really well. So could you say a little bit about that?
They do. I've been really surprised coming in at how, even before COVID, how well-paying these jobs were. But now, I think since we've seen such a shortage in the labor force, it's only helped really to drive those wages up. Students can come out in various industries making well over 18, 19, up to $20 an hour, and that's with the basic credential in a field. Like, for example, in mechatronics, you come here and get a certificate. Depending on what area that certificate is in, you can leave here with just one, maybe 2 semesters of education with that certificate and be at a $20 an hour job. You then go add on another certificate or maybe that associate's degree, and now we're at 25 and sometimes $30 an hour. And not to mention the low cost of what it took for you to get that credential.
Right.
9 times out of 10 adds to it. So not only are you graduating from here with little to no debt, you're stepping forward day one into a job with an excellent salary and great benefits. So there's really it's a huge benefit to the students to be able to do that.
In fact, we have a host of short-term certificates that are completely tuition-free right now.
Exactly.
And a lot of what you're talking about is in there.
Exactly. They fall within that area. So we encourage students to try it out. Doesn't hurt. Come in, speak to our program director if you have even a little bit of interest in it, and learn more about it. Because again, you can't go wrong. You may find your passion, and again, more than anything, you'll be able to enter the workforce with not only a job but a career that leads to growth, and you'll be able to take care of yourself and your family as you move forward.
And you said something about the credentials that reminded me of another question. Let's take mechatronics, for example. You could get a mechatronics certificate, go to work, and then come back and stack more credentials on top of that, right?
Correct,
So
correct.
You could still do it a little bit at a time, and while you're actually earning pretty good wages.
Correct.
in your field.
That's the beauty, I think, of all of our programs. It gives you that part-time flexibility. So, like you said, you can come in, go ahead and get a credential, say a certificate, and say, you know what, I really like this field. I wanna make myself more marketable and have more skills under my belt. So then you decide to come back, hey, get another certificate or diploma or degree, and then again that just adds to your value. I think as an employee, and companies realize that too. And then I think it really puts the pressure, so to say, on them to treat you fairly as an employee, because they know that you have a skill set that will allow you to go maybe somewhere else for more money, or more benefits. So again, it really is a win-win for both us and the student and the company as well.
Right. Well, we've talked about the bigger picture. Let's maybe dig into the programs themselves. So you have 12 programs in your division. I'm going to call this the lightning round. So
Okay.
I'm going to list each program, and you
Okay.
just tell us a little bit about
Sure.
each program. So let's start with diversified agriculture.
Okay. Ag is offered at our Saluda campus. And again, it's one of those programs that, students are learning about farm work, but more importantly, they're learning how technologies begin to play a role in that as well. How drone technology is now being used to manage farms and landscape and do some other things. So it is huge. We rely a lot on our agribusiness kind of community. Farming and agribusiness is huge in South Carolina. Contributes something around $30 billion to the state economy. So agriculture is big in itself. And again, students are not only learning the importance of the basic farming, but how technology is starting to incorporate in that field as well.
Right. And then a program that is kind of connected to that one, horticulture technology.
Horticulture as well, offered here mainly at our Greenwood campus. And students learn a variety of skills in horticulture. They do some with greenhouse, have a greenhouse certificate, do a lot with landscaping as well, and really have a lot of unique projects in plant science and some other things. So horticulture, again, they do a phenomenal job, and usually about once a year they do a poinsettia sale as well, which is huge here for the college. So again, students in that program, again, are learning a common thing, how technology is being incorporated in that. And I think probably more so in horticulture than agriculture. They use that drone technology to really kind of monitor crops to see what's going on and how maybe there's more water or less water is needed here versus other areas. So all in all, both great programs that tie in. They have their own differences, but tie in as well.
And horticulture is located in Greenwood.
It is.
And agriculture is located in Saluda County.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So we're kind of spread out
We
a little
are.
bit with those. So let's get into the engineering programs. Let's start with electronic engineering. Tell us a little
So
bit.
yeah, electronic engineering is huge as well. Again, students, that's one of the field. It's very similar to mechatronics in some ways in terms of the demand. Provide students and graduates with a great skill set where they're able to go out and use that to get a job at almost any industry. It ties in very closely with our mechanical engineering as well. We're actually looking at with electrical and mechanical. We're partnering with South Carolina State. More so on the mechanical side, but students are able to come here, complete those 2 years, get that associate's degree, and then transfer into South Carolina State to continue with the mechanical route. So that's been a very a great program for us to have, and oftentimes students don't have to leave our campus to do
Right.
it. Although
They can
they're
do a lot of that
correct,
right here.
correct. Although they're South Carolina State classes, they're able to take them here, and that provides a convenience to them as well. So both mechanical, electrical are high demand areas. Again, students are learning, that engineering piece, which really provides them with opportunities to work in almost any sector. So they are very, very great programs indeed.
Okay. So the next engineering program is engineering design technology.
Engineering design technology is huge as well. We actually had a meeting this morning with some folks from Train about the skill set they learn in engineering design and how they're able to use that in the HVAC industry, and they have a need for what they call engineering designers to help with some projects. So we're hoping to be able to work more closely with them and build that partnership out so that our graduates are able to leave and not only go to work for Train, but wherever they see fit, whether that's another industry or self-employed. All in all, students are learning a skill set that really focuses on engineering design, how to use AutoCAD, SolidWorks, and some other different technologies in order to design different various pieces of equipment.
And they're able to do some prototyping with things like 3D printers.
Correct,
and
correct. They are. They're integrating that technology as well. That 3D printing is probably, just taking off rapidly here the last couple of years. So it's used really heavily in the engineering fields.
Okay. Mechanical engineering.
Same thing with mechanical. Again, they work closely with electrical. And like I mentioned, mechanical, they do a phenomenal job in this past year of working with South Carolina State. And so we have students who, again, can come here, start that associate's degree program, and then, transfer over to South Carolina State and finish that bachelor's degree as well. And again, that mechanical engineering piece is focus a lot on design and again, gives them a skill set where they can almost work in any industry. Again, you're talking about a career that's a high wage, high skill type of position. That's almost marketable in any industry. So we definitely encourage students who have that kind of mechanical and mathematical knowledge. We definitely encourage them to look at exploring engineering as an option, whether it's mechanical, electrical, or engineering design.
Okay. And we've already talked about this one a little bit, but we're kind of shifting gears literally to talk about automotive technology.
Yep, automotive, the same. Again, it's probably doesn't really need a lot of explaining. I think, again, like I said earlier, most folks think of automotive as kind of the older kind of mechanical type operation, but now programs such as automotive are really teaching students how to use technology and computers to diagnose, troubleshoot cars and how to be more proactive on the maintenance side and doing repairs and things. So that skill set is very important, and we've kind of tradition, while we still have a lot of that, the kind of getting dirty, getting greasy, really understanding that part of it, we're really focusing now on, how do I integrate technology into the curriculum to help me and help me diagnose automotive issues that come about.
They're also teaching alternative technology vehicles.
Correct,
too,
correct.
like
They are as
Prius
well.
and
Correct,
electric
correct. A lot of
vehicles.
electric vehicles, a lot of talk in the news now about what that means moving forward as we look at, green jobs and the economy changing and reducing kind of fossil fuel emissions. The electronic vehicle, the hybrid kind of technology is really taking off. So we've incorporated a lot of that into our curriculum as well. And automotive is, one of those industries we also, or one of those programs, I should say, where we lean heavily on the industry to really come in and keep us abreast of changes that are taking place with the technology so that we make sure once our students graduate, they're ready to go to work on what they're going to see day one when they enter a shop.
Yeah. So anybody who looks at the housing market now too
Oh, yeah.
knows that we need more houses.
That's true.
So let's talk about building construction.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. The housing market is taking off. I mean, everything's expensive when it comes to housing now. Lumber, I actually had a conversation about that with our program director, Jay Pearson, last week. And yeah, students in that program are learning carpentry, masonry, and overall it's building construction technology and really how to design and lay out a house from top to bottom, how to price out supplies, how to work with other contractors when it comes to the electrical, the plumbing side. So they get while they don't go too deep into the electrical and plumbing, they get enough of it to learn how it impacts the project as a whole. And so like you said, that with the housing market being the way it is, students graduate from there. And a lot of times, even before they graduate, they have a job while they're still in the program. We have to often beg employers to allow them to finish and not take them so soon from us if they can. But yes, building construction due to the housing market right now is really taking off. A phenomenal program.
Okay. Now this next one's pretty interesting. I know it's pretty popular. It also is one that's popular. We bring people in from all over the country, and that's gunsmithing.
Gunsmithing, yes. If I understand correctly, and I think this is correct, I think it is the only program of its kind of in the state here. Somebody fact check me to make sure that's right. But yeah, gunsmithing is huge. They learn about making guns top to bottom. They learn about firearm safety as well. But more than that, it has a lot of crossover with programs like machine tool. It gives them a chance to work on the machining side. So if, they graduate and say, hey, I like the gunsmithing side, but I want to do something else. Usually the machining side is a awesome possibility for them as well. So a phenomenal program, again, learning a lot about, firearms from top to bottom and designing them and also making sure that, you're able to handle them safely. So great program.
This is another one that's pretty relevant, I think, right now. We every time we walk outside the last few days, I kind of feel like we're wilting in the humidity. But we definitely need as many people as possible that know how to work on that HVAC equipment to keep us cool and warm. So
exactly.
Tell me a little bit about
HVAC.
HVAC
again, as you mentioned, great program, heating and air, as it's often known as. Another high-skilled, high-paying career field. One where we're still often, begging employers to let students finish. We get a lot of companies that come in and students with a certificate or just a basic understanding of HVAC often can leave without finishing the credential, at around $20 an hour. So it gets sometimes as our students, which we want them to have jobs and have careers, but as they get credential, it's often hard sometimes for us to keep them. But yes, you're right. It's one of those fields where, when it's the thick of summer and your air conditioner goes out, you're willing to pay whatever to get it fixed. So they have a great skill set and real unique and another high demand, high wage career.
Yeah, they're in demand year round.
They are year round. So whether it's the heat in the winter or the AC in the summer, when those units go down, you want somebody right away who can fix them. So and oftentimes they're able to what comes with that, they're often able to set their own price, especially, a lot of them who go on to be self-employed do really well. So, yeah, great program. Bill and his team do a phenomenal job working with our industry partners, making sure, again, that the technology there matches what they're going to see because it changes rapidly as well. So they do a phenomenal job working with the industry to make sure the program stays relevant.
Right. Now, these next three I kind of want to package together a little bit because they all have a new home.
They do.
But that's machine tool, mechatronics, and welding. Let's just talk about machine tool technology first, or if you want to talk about the new facility.
Yeah, I can do that. So the Upstate Center for Manufacturing Excellence, or as we call it, the Odell Center. Here's our brand new 100,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility that houses all three of those programs: machine tool, welding, and mechatronics. And again, it's a beautiful facility. We encourage folks to come out and take a tour of it, especially if you have any type of interest in any of those programs. But on the machine tool side, again, the machining industry, another one of those high skill career fields. And what we hear from employers is that a lot of the machinists are retiring out, so they're trying to develop a pipeline of folks who have that skill set to step in and take those jobs. But the issue they're running into is that it's oftentimes not there, because those folks will, they'll stay on a job 20, 25 years and become excellent machinists. So what we're trying to figure out is how do we get more interest, even at the high school level, into that career field? How do we pair those students with those industry folks a lot sooner, so that we don't lose that knowledge base? Because a lot of the, a lot of the skill set and the knowledge that our machinists possess come with those years on the workforce, in addition to the education they receive here. So we want to make sure those skills are transferred as best as possible, so the next group of upcoming machinists can step into those roles and fill those jobs.
Well, tell me about mechatronics.
Mechatronics.
That's a hot topic.
That is a hot topic. Now that's that, like we mentioned earlier, that industrial maintenance kind of side of the house. Once again, just a booming career field, because again, like all technology, machines, they break. They need folks to troubleshoot them, and again, it's knowing how to, using PLCs and pneumatics and fluid power, and learning how to diagnose and troubleshoot issues, and for the technician who's able to start from top to bottom and really troubleshoot a piece of equipment, that's the technician who's going to have a great career in mechatronics. And so that's what we try to teach here. We brought in industry folks to look at our equipment to make sure it doesn't have to be identical, but it gives them a good knowledge base to start from. And then once they're hired on, of course, the company's going to do more individualized, customized training that better suits their needs. But here, we want them to have that good mechanical mindset and just overall problem-solving experience. Because we know if we're able to do that, once it's nothing for them to pick up a specific piece of equipment once they hit the industry. That part we're not concerned about. It's making sure they have a good foundation here. But again, it's a high-demand career, one that has excellent wages. So if you're interested, we definitely encourage you to come out, take a tour, meet with our program director and instructors. But a phenomenal field to be a part of right now, because we get a lot of industry.
And the other piece in that new facility that we have over there is welding, and that, I know that's always in demand.
It is. It's one of those ones that it's just never gone away. It's been hot for several years now. But yeah, welding, they do a phenomenal job. I will say the Odell Center has given us the opportunity to upgrade our welding booths. We have new state-of-the-art welding booths that allow students to really focus on. They're able to do all three processes in one, so they're more efficient. Whereas with some of the old machinery, if you wanted to go from, let's say, a stick process to a TIG or MIG process, you had to switch out some stuff. But now, that new equipment allows for all three processes to be done, and the switch over to happen really in a matter of seconds. So welding is huge. They do a great job, as well as working with the industry to see how some things are changing, because you'll hear now a lot about the robotic welding. But what you find, and although the robots do a good job, usually a human has to come behind them to just do some touch-up work to fix some things that the robot may have missed. So even with the increase in technology, you still need that human eye to often come behind and make sure it's done right. So yeah, welding is huge, and it's a great program, and they've done a phenomenal job of incorporating that technology and also working with the industry to see how can we be relevant, how can we make sure that our welders are relevant when they leave here and moving forward.
Right. And you mentioned something earlier about getting people started in high school. I know we're offering some of these programs to dual enrollment students, or
Correct.
Students through our dual enrollment programs. Which areas is that included?
Right now, the ones that jump out, I know we're really offering almost any area if there's interest. We do have a strong interest. We do have strong, I should say, enrollment. Welding is a popular one as well. Mechatronics is also another one. We have a great relationship with McCormick High School when it comes to the machine tool program. They send students here to complete that program. But you'll find sprinkled throughout all of our programs a few dual enrollment students. And again, to really increase that workforce pipeline, we want to work more and develop stronger relationships with our high school partners, to help them see that, one, we're not competitors. We're all on the same team trying to make sure that students have the skills they need so that they can go out and be productive citizens and add value to the workforce. So we're working hard to kind of, tear down some of those silos and really start working more closely with our local career centers, our high schools, business and industry as well, to address what is a community need. And if we're successful in educating them and training them, then they'll be successful in the workplace. So dual enrollment is huge, and again, it helps, like we've said before, just really create that pipeline of students who can fill those employment needs as they come available.
Right, and that's another tuition-free route.
It is, correct.
As long as they're taking at least 6 credit hours.
Correct.
They
So
can go tuition-free.
give it, try it out, and if nothing else, even if it's just the gen ed piece, you can knock a few courses out and get those under your belt. Like you said, tuition-free. So we encourage all of the high schools to really reach out to us and see where we can partner on some things and kind of work together and to meet those needs.
Good. I really just have two more questions before we get out of here. One is, I guess if you want to wrap it up a little bit more, why should someone choose a program in industrial and engineering?
Because it's the best division.
Okay.
Seriously, E&I gives students the skills they need to go out and really be productive. As manufacturing starts to change, it's really going to require, I think, when you look at it from not only an American perspective, but like a global perspective, if we're going to be successful competing in a global economy, we have to have folks who have the skill set to go out and compete and do well in those jobs and understand the mechanical side and the production side. Or if not, then we're going to continue to see this labor shortage in our manufacturing environment. And also comes with that is the changing of the mindset when it comes to manufacturing. I think it's so often seen as a dirty word. So a lot of our work is convincing parents how to even expose students to these type of opportunities so that they now see how clean these manufacturing processes are. But not only that, again, just a great career paths that it leads down, and more importantly, the really low cost of those programs. So I mean, you're talking about students leaving here, getting great jobs, and graduating with zero to little debt. So
right.
It's a win-win, and it is going to help us long term just be able to compete more as the economy starts to shift and change.
Right, and you kind of answered my second question, but I'll ask it anyway. Why Piedmont Tech? Why should they choose us?
It's a great institution. You're going to get folks who don't see you as only a number, but there's a face behind that number, and the folks here are dedicated to making sure that you are successful as a student. That is our number one job, to make sure that you come in, you get the skills that you need, and then you go out and you're able to not only get a successful career, but you're able to then go out and market for us and say, hey, I was able to do this because of the education I learned at Piedmont Technical College. So for what we offer, and for the low cost we do it at, it's really the best game in town. So I encourage folks all the time, even if you don't know, come out and try a few courses out to get your feet wet, and then let's meet with some of our student affairs folks to do some career exploration stuff and find out where you may fit, and then just go from there. But yeah, we do a great job of not wasting time, not wasting resources, and also preparing students to be ready to go day one. And we offer, if you say, hey, you know what, credit side maybe right now is not the best thing for me, we can partner you with our folks, our colleagues in the continuing ed division,
right,
to take some more short-term type programs to see.
I think we get as low as 6 weeks.
Exactly. So if you're working and don't have the time right now to commit to the longer programs, let us put you in contact with our folks in CE and see what they may be able to do as well. So what makes it great is that we have something for everybody, and we often can do it on a schedule that fits everybody's schedule. So again, when you add all that up, the pros definitely outweigh the cons, and we want you to take advantage of what we have to offer.
Excellent. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks for being here. This has
yeah,
been great.
It has, and it's good to I noticed this started, I think, during the height of COVID, so it's good to be
did,
able to be
we've
face
been-
to face.
We have been virtual this whole time, and I can't tell you how glad I am that we are sitting face to face.
I know,
like
right?
this.
It's
so nice.
great. So I'm glad to be here, and I hope it's been beneficial and folks have learned, a lot more about what we have to offer.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Al.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And that concludes this episode of PTC Live. If you'd like to know more about these programs or other programs at Piedmont Tech, you can head over to www.ptc.edu/academics. If you want to browse through those programs, most of those pages have sample salary information. We have some virtual tours. We have videos of those programs and information on job placement rates. We should have another episode coming up here in July, so stay tuned for information about that. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.